Feedback. Gets it set for Flint. WTRX.
Good evening and welcome back to Flint Feedback for this Monday, July the 18th, 1977. My name is Dave Barber. Glad to have you with us tonight. I want to thank all of you who called in our first segment tonight of Open Line. It was most interesting. And we'll have a poll question coming up a little bit later, but right now we're going to talk about music trivia. I happen to remember the date very distinctly. It was March the 28th. We had our famous 5-hour trivia night on Flint Feedback, and just one of the segments that we did that evening pertained to music, and we had the author of the book And the Hits Just Keep On Coming, author Peter Berry, to talk about music. And we had a good response, but we really didn't have time. He had another commitment that evening. We really didn't have time to get into it. And if you listen to 13 Tricks at all, you know we play a pretty good variety of music, and especially when you listen to Bill Pearson's program, from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m., you'll know he adds a lot of anecdotes and interesting little stories behind the stories and behind the groups. And he's with us tonight. So we're going to have people here from the Flint area, as well as some of our staff, to talk about music trivia. And we have with us, of course, a gentleman who you had a taste of last hour, 13 Tricks program director.
Left a bad taste in my mouth, too.
Be nice, Bill.
Mike Anderson. Mike, thank you for being here.
Well, Dave, thank you for inviting me. It's always a pleasure.
Hey, you read that real well, just like you wrote it.
Also, as I just mentioned, we have our midday announcer, Mr. Bill Pearson. Bill, thank you.
So nice to be here at night, David. This is a whole new atmosphere in this building.
It's usually...
You turn the neon lights on and everything, and it really is really interesting.
Also, I just want to say that today is a very special day also for you, Bill Pearson, and that today is your wedding anniversary. And what we did is we got all the staff here together. I brought them in special tonight to be with us, and I just wanted to announce a happy anniversary, and staff.
You really should get that plumbing fixed, though, Dave.
And they wanted to say happy anniversary to you, likewise myself. And I think that's a big person who can be here with us
on their wedding anniversary. Well, we're also celebrating our divorce today because of it.
Yes, Marianne has called me homebreaker a number of times. Also, a gentleman here who I've recently known of his acquaintance over the past few months. A gentleman who I had heard about but never had an opportunity to meet. Also, a very astute music person, and he is a historian of music, has a very vast collection of music, is a school teacher here in the area, also an entertainer who can be seen at the Cabaret Lounge.
He looks different, fully clothed, too, doesn't he?
Yes, I would. A gentleman who it's my pleasure to welcome to Flint Feedback, Mr. Ken Gay. Ken, it's nice of you to be with us tonight.
I'm happy to be here, and I tell you, I feel like a thorn between two roses here with, all these professional disc jockeys here. I feel like I'm out of place because you guys know all your stuff, and I'm not too good at this stuff. I just...
No, Ken, not you, no.
Ken, it's interesting. You said something. You said something to me very interesting a couple of weeks ago, and I happened to be catching your act, and you said to me, what really makes me feel good about all of this is that people come in and they dance to all this music, and I tell them funny stories and get them involved. And you said, I've never been in radio. I've never been a radio announcer. But yet you were Flint's original disco person. I mean, you were playing records and letting people dance to them in nightclubs and things, I think, before anyone in the Flint area.
Yeah, I'm proud of that fact, and it's been kind of, I guess, phenomenal for me. It's kind of an ego trip, I guess, because I never have been involved in radio, but I've always, listened all the time, almost constantly. Even when I was in school, I'd carry my little transistor, and sneak on the desk, and the teacher would come by, and I'd turn it down. But I really love music.
Mine down.
I really do love music, and I was the first bar disc jockey or lounge disc jockey in Flint, and I started in '71, and it was a fluke that got me started. One of my fraternity brothers got drafted, and we had a party, and we did not have any way for any entertainment, and so he says, hey, why don't you play your records? And so I did, and that's how I got started.
That's really something, because not only were you the first, and you know, let me just stroke here for a minute before we start taking calls. Not only were you the first, but I mean, you did some things that were really, you know, that are really wild. I mean, you didn't start the first night you started playing records, jumping up on the chair and doing a locomotion and all that crazy stuff, did you?
Yeah, yes, I did. Because I was really scared, you know. I thought these people are gonna just, you know, they're not gonna enjoy this because it'd never been tried before, and so it was very bad. It was a terrible night. We had like maybe 50 people in the whole place, and I was scared and sweaty. And I says, I gotta do something, you know, something's gotta happen. So I said, everybody stand up with me and clap their hands. And it started out they were just standing on the floor, and I just automatically stepped in my chair, and they did too. And
I gotta say, I've seen both of these guys perform, and I'm totally knocked out by what I assume can be the dedication that they pour into it, either that or what they've poured into themselves. But the evenings I've spent watching these two guys were just totally enjoyable experiences.
It is, and it's hard work. I did it once, and it was a tremendous flop of playing records at a lounge. Tremendous flop, and I know how hard it is. And I see you guys up there sweating and working, and I've told you before, Bill, I've never seen you have a down night, and I'm sure you have, but you've never let it project. And as much as we kid people who play records in bars and whatnot, it's an entertainment business, and I don't care what anyone says, you're entertainers, and I think the audience has a right to get their money's worth, and I think you provide that, and it's really quite a tribute to be able to, especially in your case, Bill, leave the realm of the studio and the records and the contraptions and the uniqueness of being alone in a studio into an atmosphere where there's people and you're looking at faces. Was it difficult at first for you?
Well, at first it was, especially stepping into an atmosphere which is totally different from a radio type of thing that we're doing here. And when I first went in there, I was quite reserved, and you know, the people that you know, stopped into the particular lounge that we work, and we'll talk about a little bit later on. You know, they could sense that I was kind of not really quite with the program. I was going through the motions, but it just, you know, you got to learn who the people are that come in, your regulars, you know, and you more or less have to participate with them, you know. And talking about down nights that you mentioned, probably my biggest down night in the that I've had since working on the club circuit was just a week ago Friday night when my father had a heart attack, and I was informed of it right in the middle of the evening. Luckily, this man, Ken Gay, came to my rescue, and we were able to work everything out. But that was probably the toughest night I had in there, keeping the program going.
Yeah, I'm sure of it.